With this video, we are going to be talking about the 5 different regions in Georgia and their unique ecosystems that are prevalent in each different region. So when I say ecosystem, y'all are going to touch on this a little bit later in science, but an ecosystem is a biological community of organisms, both the flora and the fauna, and their physical environment, which means all the inorganic things like the land itself. When I say fauna and flora, fauna is the animal life that lives in the ecosystem, and flora is the plant life. Now, we're very much blessed to have a very ecologically diverse area in the world as our state. We could be like Siberia. The only thing you need to know about Siberia is that it's cold. It's very cold, and that's about it. Instead, we are blessed to have both beaches and mountains in our state. So let's jump right into it. We're going to start with coastal plain, which is the yellow area on this map. Now, it goes halfway up the state because we actually had shallow seas over half our state at one point, which meant that the beach was about where we are right now. That means that all this area is very sandy, has a lot of chalk deposits, has a lot of kaolin deposits that are actually mined now in southern Georgia. We, of course, have beaches where the ocean meets our state. Beyond that, we have marshland and estuaries further inland. And this whole area is dotted with wetlands and swamps like Okefenokee Swamp in southern Georgia. Now, since it's very sandy soil, there has to be plants that don't mind having a little bit of sand and salt in what they're growing in. So we have a lot of plants like live oaks, saw palmettos, sable palms, Spanish moss, and sea oats that grow directly on the dunes. We also have a lot of animals that don't mind it being sandy and actually dig in the sand, like gopher tortoises, armadillos, white-tailed deer that like to eat in the open areas in this part of the state. We have a lot of waterfowl like the blue heron, seagulls, terns, sandpipers. We have reptiles like sea turtles that are coming up onto our beaches to lay their eggs. And of course, a lot of American alligators and a lot of diamondback rattlesnakes. Please do not get alligators mixed up with crocodiles. We do not have any crocodile species in our state at all. Moving on, the star represents where we are right now in the Augusta-Evans area. You notice that we're right on the fall line, right between the Piedmont and the coastal plain. You can actually still find fossils like shark's teeth in this area if you know where to look. Going on into the Piedmont, we have more clay in our soil, a little less sand. We're starting to get more gravel in it as well. So we start to see more hardwood trees in this area, like sweet gums, oak stands, dogwoods. But our area is also very much marked by pine trees. So we have the longleaf pine stands in our state. Pine industry is huge in our area, anything from the paper industry to lumber yards and milling. That's all very important to the Piedmont area of our state. Now, the kind of animals that you see around here is the kind of animals you'd see in the Piedmont. We have things like turkeys, gray foxes, a lot of deer. Anyone who hunts around here knows there's a lot of deer. We have raccoons, possums, songbirds come through our area all the time, like the northern cardinal. We also have American otters, muskrats, and other aquatic mammals that like to be in our rivers and lakes in our area. All right, moving on to the Blue Ridge. Now we're getting further up the state, getting into the mountains and the foothills of our state. Called Blue Ridge because the mountains are actually blue thanks to the mist that surrounds them. This is a cooler part of our state as we go up in altitude. So we have things like rhododendrons, wild azaleas that bloom during the spring, very late spring, actually June. We have sourwoods, hickories, hemlocks, laurels, and tulip poplars that all grow in this area. This is actually one of the more ecologically diverse areas.